from the Ontario Regiment Museum. We are here in the M577 that is appropriately decked out for holiday cheer.
Well, we've blown our production budget, so that's it from the live stream.
We've got a train, we've got the Chieftain, we've got the executive director, the tank museum guy, and we hope that you enjoy the stream. And welcome to our live stream. I'm Commander AF. I'm here at the Ontario Regiment Museum. This man should need no introduction, but I will allow him to introduce himself.
I'm Nicholas. I've been a tankaholic for over 20 years. I'm not planning on recovering.
Some of you may know him as the Chieftain. He's a tankaholic and a trainaholic, and we'll talk more about that shortly. But first, I want to introduce Jeremy Blowers, the executive director here at the Ontario Regiment Museum. He's going to be tagging along with us this whole time while we're having extra special fun here in the M577.
Happy holidays, everybody.
So this is our opportunity. So you would have seen Jeremy show up in previous videos, or maybe you would have heard him in the background during the Aquino live stream. So unlike Bobby, you don't really have the staff to have somebody on the live stream as well. You're too busy.
That's right. Yeah, so I'm usually in the background, and you guys often mention me. Oh, look, there goes Tank Museum guy running this way and running that way. But now that it's the Christmas season, I can be on with you guys.
Yeah. So I mean, that's your handle, is Tank Museum guy.
Yeah, both in game and online, and sort of where I post some of the adventures we get to here at the museum.
Okay, so this is, I guess, your opportunity to really introduce Ontario Regiment Museum to the larger audience. I mean, we've broadcast from here before. You have seen this video here before, but I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've actually sat down and talked about what this museum is, why it's so fantastic, and where is it?
All right, well, the Ontario Regiment RCAC Museum, which means Royal Canadian Armoured Corps, is Canada's premier tank museum. We are a regimental museum of the Ontario Regiment, but we are one of North America's largest collections of military vehicles, including tanks. And I think the thing that sets the ORM apart over here is the amount of vehicles that we run. So it's mostly an operational and mobile vehicle museum.
You got like 150 plus in the collection, right?
150 plus in the collection, and over 120 are running at any time.
Okay. So what about this vehicle that we're in right now? I know that you guys call it the Queen Mary.
I'm not sure if our American friends also call it the Queen Mary.
But I did discover that the British call it that as well.
Right.
So it's not just a Canadian thing.
Well, it's named after a British ship. So the M577 is the mobile command and control APC. As you can see, it's very big in here. It's an office. We were able to, have our Christmas set up in here. And it's so big, actually, that, the Commonwealth troops call it the Queen Mary. Named after a Second World War troop ship that was very large.
We sometimes call it the RV as well.
It's a bit of an RV. I mean, you have everything you need in here. And in addition, I mean, on the top, there's a big mod tent that deploys out. So if you're going to be in a static position for a while, it's actually quite comfy for the officers and communication staff.
Have you ever seen it decked out like this?
No.
Do you think you'll be doing this every year?
I think we might just keep it this way.
That'll be so. Yeah, I mean, you had I think you had a vehicle at a Christmas market or something like that a couple of weeks ago, didn't you?
Yeah. So our vehicles, because they're mobile, in our community, we send them out to all sorts of different events, and we sent a Canadian Lav 3 to the Oshawa Christmas market. So it's weird in our part of the world, but our people who live around here are used to seeing tanks and military vehicles rolling through their streets and going to different parades and events. It's just...
no panics about martial law happening.
In a non-threatening way. It's pretty exciting. And I like how you glazed over my talk about decorations. I was about to get into it. And you know what? I think the two of you've got a little bit...
I'm sort of the bah humbug.
Okay, I'm here to bring the holiday spirit. So they're going to talk tanks, but let me just get a little fun and festive, okay? And I see that, of course...
He's wearing a green shirt.
There's a green shirt, but he's Irish after all. But you are a little boring. So to help you fit in and bring the holiday cheer, I know that you do like to wear a collared shirt, so I got you a tie. Okay? Sorry. There we go. Oh, looks really
Very festive.
Okay. Oh, well, you're not getting off the hook. I am very proud of you. I love your ugly tank sweater from the Tank Museum. Shout out to our friends over in the UK.
I have every one.
So it looks like you got a Chieftain, you got a, it says probably a Mark IV. I cannot identify reindeer type.
No, I'm not sure what the reindeer are. But it has, I got this from the Tank Museum, and I get one every year. Oh,
That's
my
one
goodness.
every year. That means what? Does the Tank Museum have a new design in their shop every year?
They do, yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
They call it a tank jumper. Here in North America, we call it an ugly Christmas tank sweater.
Well, I've got something from the Ontario Regiment Museum gift shop. They're not very festive, but they are pretty cool.
Oh, our tank socks.
Tank
With our
socks.
logo on them.
Okay, so
Thank you,
you
Commander.
guys are wanting some gifts.
We need to get you tanker boots. I'm not wearing them today either for a change.
The Ontario Regiment Museum gift shop's where it's at, and the Tank Museum gift shop's pretty cool too. So yeah, okay, now we are a little bit more aligned. We're a little bit more in the holiday spirit.
Festive.
We can get back to the tank talk.
Yeah, and the museum itself. So I mean, it is an official Canadian museum, or is this a private collection?
This is an official Canadian Armed Forces museum, but it also has a civilian charity which owns actually now a vast majority of the vehicles in the collection. We also, like many other museums, we have some private collectors' vehicles that are on loan to our museum that add to the strength of the collection. But everything you see here that came out of the Canadian Armed Forces, like the LAV-3, was actually an active Canadian military vehicle, and now it's here for educational purposes.
So Oshawa itself has something of a military history. I mean, we're staying in Ajax, and there's a couple of towns down the road. It's named after a warship from the Battle of the River Plate. And so Oshawa's got what in terms of the military history?
Well, the Ontario Regiment was founded in 1866.
America's older than something.
That's right, which actually makes the regiment 1 year older than the Confederation of Canada, because Canada wasn't confederated until 1867. So yeah, our military history goes longer than our time as an actual nation.
And yeah, the factories here.
Yes, General Motors factory was here that produced over hundreds of thousands of vehicles for the war effort in our Commonwealth during the Second World War. Some of them we have in our museum. And it's also the site of the famous Camp X, the secret spy camp here in North America. And even where the museum is.
I'm going to go Google that one after this.
I don't think I've ever heard Chieftain say he's missed that one. You're bringing new facts to the table.
I'm bringing new
Okay.
facts about Durham Region. It was very active during the Second World War and has a very deep military history.
Good. So one of the other nice things about Toronto is it's if you like tanks or airplanes or ships or whatever, there's something here for you regardless.
Yeah, within like a half-hour drive of Toronto, yeah.
Yeah. So you got was it Trenton Air Base?
We've got the Trenton Royal Canadian Air Force Museum. So we have the Trenton Air Base, and there's a fantastic Air Force Museum there. Just on the other side of Toronto, we have the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum. So for those who like military planes, lots within Toronto, within an hour's drive. And we're not the only military vehicle and tank museum. We have CFB Warden Museum.
Right. We had their vehicle at Aquino. We showed you.
Yeah, for sure. And they have an incredible historical collection. And of course, in Ottawa, a few more hours drive, we have the Canadian War Museum, which is the Canadian equivalent of say, like the Imperial War Museum.
So there you go. If you're wondering where to go for your vacation next year, book Toronto. That I think the Ontario Regional Tourism Board is now happy with us.
They'll be very happy with us now.
Now, we're about 3 weeks out from Christmas. Would we be booking trips to Toronto in the dead of winter over here? What is this considered the dead of winter? What do you think? 3
Oh,
weeks
we're
out,
not
are
even
we-
close. Wait till February.
Okay, so no. So December might be a good time.
Well, what happens in February?
By February, you're definitely going to be in a lot of snow. And if you're visiting Canada from southern climes, you should probably bring a lot of winter gear in your coats.
Okay,
even if you own
so
them. Yeah.
bringing the winter gear as just a human pedestrian tourist, you definitely want to have sweaters, jackets, layers. But I did want to talk a little bit about what does it take to basically prepare. We're in a giant hangar. I don't know if you guys have caught on to that, but we are in a big tank hangar. There are not all 150 vehicles, but there are a lot of vehicles jam-packed in here. It's walls of concrete and then just a garage door. So fortunately, we're not freezing, but what does it take to prepare the museum for winter?
Yeah, because we do something that no other museum does in North America, and I'm not sure, there might be some of this stuff going on in Scandinavia, but we actually put on an educational tank show in the winter in February. Most people are coming to Ontario, by the way, for skiing and other interesting tourism. But
You must have a pretty hardcore audience. I can imagine standing out in the tank yard wearing parkas watching tanks go by.
not the usual hour-and-a-half show, Nick. Okay, we try to keep it to 30-40 minutes, and mostly about how vehicles operate in winter conditions, and some historical vehicles that have been deployed to different theaters during the Cold War, like in Scandinavia. And yeah, it's a lot different from running a Keno Tank Weekend or our regular summer program. And you know, I have asked our Director of Operations, Dan Aker. He's going to give us kind of a rundown of some of the equipment we have to wear and how difficult it is for vehicles to move in snow and ice.
Okay, so this is a series of problems that they don't have in Europe. So Bovington, pay attention. You might learn something. So you said it was Dan.
Yeah, Dan is prepared some stuff, and he's going to talk to us about the military vehicles, how we prepare them, how they operate in snow and ice, and also he has some really cool Canadian Arctic equipment.
All right, do they still say roll VT?
Yeah, roll the video.
Canada used to run an exercise that was called Northern Viking. And what was sort of like a school of living in the north. It was up in the Northwest Territories and in the Arctic. And what would happen is people would be nominated or would go on this course for a set period of time to get used to living. Now, there were armored vehicles there, but there weren't many of them. Most of the exercise was actually a walking exercise, snowshoes and sleds bearing your equipment. Couple of interesting things about that. It was a great way to learn how to live in the north. Now, I never went on the exercise because I'm not that much of a masochist. But the stories I'd get would just act as learning tools for us in the south, where we could practice the same techniques. Like, for instance, if you wanted to have a bath or a shower, and it's a bazillion degrees below zero, this is somewhat of a challenge. So what would happen is that you would be inside, they would set up a tent, they would put in the naphtha lanterns, which would heat up the tent fairly quickly. You would strip down completely and then run out into the snow, roll around in the snow, run back into the tent, and put your one foot in each one of the wash basins. You would then soap yourself down as the snow becomes water. When you're sufficiently lathered up, and you run out of the tent one more time, roll in the snow, run back in, and use the snow that melts as the medium of removing the soap from the bottle. And then at which point in time you could get dressed again. One other bizarre thing about Northern Viking was that polar bears would sometimes come into camp because of food waste and stuff, and they'd be interested. So there was a sequence of events that when you saw a polar bear and you were in sentry, you would have to start out with a whistle, then use a rattle, and then finally the last thing that would happen is that you would have a M113 or another tracked vehicle that would basically herd it away from the camp, because a polar bear, when motivated, has to be deterred. And the other thing that was kind of interesting is that Canada actually has what you call rangers. When you think of rangers, you think of people who climb mountains and stab their way through German armies with bayonets and all that sort of thing. Canadian Rangers are actually natives who live up north, and they act as guides and they act as trainers for various detachments that will go up for northern sovereignty issues. And so they have an incredible wealth of knowledge from living up there in the north that they pass on to the Canadian troops that go up for these periodic exercises. And the support they provide, snowmobiles, teaching people how to live in the north, that is training that is unparalleled, and an experience that is unparalleled that I'm aware of with any other military. Other things about winter warfare, your heating system is very important if it's working. And if it's not, it's like living in a refrigerator, which just adds to the true joy of the exercise in the field. One of the most interesting things about driving in the winter is ice. Ice is not a good thing. Hard rubber pads against a icy surface, they do not get much grip at all. So one of the things that is done is to remove pads and replace them with grousers. And the grousers act like cleats, and they will actually dig into the ice and give you much better traction on slippery roads. Canadian track, deal track for the APCs actually are much easier to pry off, apparently, not having done it, but apparently to remove the rubber pads and replace them with grousers as well, as required. So this allows you much better traction on the ice. Of course, most of these vehicles are diesel, so they have a preheat system where they'll heat up the glow plugs, of course, to ensure that the engine will start. In theory, that should be very good. However, it's also good to have another vehicle that's running that could be used to slave, to assist in the startup if you're using too much power before the actual engine catches. While driving on roads in the winter, if the roads are identifiable, in other words, they have been cleared to some extent, there can be a lot of ice in places you don't expect. If you're in wheeled vehicles, it can be terrifying. Because there are times when I was in an AVGP, for tactical reasons, we had stopped dead at a certain part of the road, and we didn't realize at the time, but there was ice there. And the vehicle, with a mind of its own, started sliding sideways. So we had to wait for a 5-ton wrecker to come park somewhere to the front, pull us out of that situation. Driving in the winter, in deep snow, in deep cold, requires patience, some luck, and a lot of preparation.
We're back! And now I'm looking at the right camera. In the break, they told us we were looking at the wrong camera. Sorry about that, no offense.
We see you.
All right, so yeah, that's a list of problems that you don't get in Europe, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, in Northern Europe, but in a museum environment where you operate the vehicles, so we actually have to deal with some of those issues of operating, and obviously with the equipment that we wear.
Oh, we had this. So we drive around in Iraq, and the tank heater in the M1 is incredibly good. But of course, it doesn't help me as a TC. I'm sticking my top hat out.
Yeah.
So November the 1st, I remember that. November the 1st, 2004, first day of winter in some places like Ireland. The temperature in Iraq just went vroom, straight down. And we're driving along for about 10 minutes, and it would stop, pull off to the side of the road. I'd take over security duty while the loader would get off and stand behind the tank, because the tank's got a turbine engine. It's got the 1500 degrees Fahrenheit coming out at you. So you stand behind that for a minute or two to thaw out. Then he'd hop back into the loader's hatch. I'd hop out, stand behind the exhaust, thaw out, get back in the TC's hatch, and off we go for another 10 minutes. It was, of course, my gunner and driver were inside the tank, just wearing short sleeves, completely against regulation. Because the heater is a blasting heat at you. Well, at least when it works. I mean,
Yeah, if it works. Yeah, if it's
the other problem is that the heater will break down in October, and the part to fix it will show up in April. It happens. But yeah, all in all, though, I'm happy living in Texas.
we like the variety up here.
No, wait. So, Nick, in the tanks that you have, do you have a boiling vessel?
Yes and no. So there's this common misconception that American vehicles don't have a boiling vessel. Officially in American, it's called a ration water heater, or ration heater. And on the M1, it will be located down by the loader's feet. Now, for some reason, the Army has stopped issuing these things. So I run into a lot of M1 tankers that say, "Oh, we never had a BV or a ration heater in our tank." Well, yeah, the rack is still there. You look into a modern tank, the rack is still at the loader's feet, but it's in there.
It's in the parts manual.
It's in a parts manual. You can look up the NSN, and if it's still in the system, you can buy them. But I think what I'm going to do is just go to eBay and buy the thing, because they're showing up on eBay. I don't know why they're showing up on eBay, but they're showing up on eBay.
That's crazy. I didn't know you can get stuff like that on eBay.
No, you can. Of course, we use it for coffee, not tea like the British.
A cuppa?
A cup of...
Okay, well, I'm definitely enjoying my coffee, but
And the
you know
Canadian
what?
tankers drink a lot of coffee. It's not tea.
So is it like the British that the war stops at 5 in the afternoon? and you brew up, and then you start the war again at 6?
Canada is, being a Commonwealth country, it's in an interesting position where
we're Tim Hortons.
yeah, coffee is king in Canada, but we're right between the United States of America, Great Britain, and Europe. So you'll find a lot of commonalities in both, a unique mix of both, U.S. Ways of doing things and British way of doing things in one country, and sometimes parallel side by side.
What are some uniquely Canadian holiday traditions?
Well, I mean, like, once again, it's going to feel like we drink a lot of eggnog around Christmas. Okay. Right, but then of course we have our weird Christmas flavored Timbits.
I don't think I want to know. But okay.
I want to know.
Okay. Like
Those are munchkins for those.
Yeah, like, the little donut holes or whatever you call them in the United States. And we will have turkey dinner and sometimes ham. Some families like fish. But also because it's a multicultural country, we then have this mix of different traditions. So once again, we have our British traditions of our past, we have American tradition influence, and all these different other cultures. So Christmas up here is many, many things. A lot of people say Happy Holidays and Merry Christmas.
We did forget our Festivus for the rest of us. But what, do you have a Festivus pole at home?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
I am not a decoration, but you notice I have removed the tie.
I have.
I am more of the humbug sort of person. I'm not going to spoil the party for anybody else.
Well, I mean, you had a choice, and now we've got. Okay, good. Okay, we're back, and I understand that we're gonna break for lunch right here on the stream with you because while we do not have a boiler.
Boiling vessel.
A boiling vessel.
Not currently in this vehicle.
Ration heater, yeah.
We did not get it. Our eBay bid did not work out. We do have some MRE.
We do, or whatever the Canadian version of an MRE is.
Call it. So let's.
IMPs.
What's on the menu today?
Individual meal pack.
Yeah.
What do we got?
So here you got
Scalloped potatoes and ham.
scalloped potatoes and ham.
So we're going to get our ham, Christmas ham.
Beans and wieners.
Beans and what? Is that Christmas?
Sounds good.
Beans and wieners are always good.
Oh, and hash browns and
Hash
bacon.
browns and bacon. So a nice Canadian breakfast.
Okay, heating instructions. Place on open pouch in pot of boiling water.
Oh, so we do need the boiling
Well,
vessel.
that's a bad start.
We do need the boiling vessel, but there's no water in it or plug for it.
Okay, this is bringing our Christmas meal to a screeching halt right now, unless we want to eat cold ham. We get the full winter field experience.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So sorry you don't get to watch us eat our Christmas meal on the stream right now. If we're going to be festival, I'm going to turn on the train one.
Let's see. So I don't know if you know this, but the Chieftain loves a train.
The term is ferroequinologist. Okay, fine.
You can stop
Okay,
when it is.
that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough. Let's kill this.
Bah humbug.
But no, I mean,
You broke a track.
There has been an incident.
A slight derailment.
Slight derailment, but we're going to get back on track here. There are a ton of volunteers that have come out to help make sure that this production can happen. I understand that you have students that come and they spend their PA days here, and they spend time learning here at the museum about mechanics and everything that it does that goes into keeping the museum intact.
I mean,
The students, they're great, but they are getting school credit for being here and working at the museum.
oh, that's
That's awesome.
But they're very talented, yeah. And then the rest of the museum volunteers that have come out to help us in the preparation of this Christmas special.
so. What does school credit actually do for you? I mean, we're talking like secondary schoolers here, right? High school,
yeah,
whatever the
we have a
version is.
program for secondary school, yeah, so high school. And they actually get, just like if you were to take a math credit or an English credit or a gym credit, they get a tank credit. No, but they actually get a co-op. There's a co-op program where we build a small team of students. They get to work here for a semester at the museum, learn about military history, do all sorts of odd jobs, and this season they got to help us with the Christmas special.
So, of course, another advantage of having automotive trained labor is that, Santa's workshop has a facility out here.
That's right. Yeah. When those tanks have to be ready to get under that tree for Christmas, and so there's got to be Santa's helpers and a tank workshop.
You bet you didn't know that, but it is called the Great White North. So, is that a badge of pride, or do you get offended when we call you the Great White North?
No, we really appreciate it. A lot of people think that it's always snowing up here, which is not true. It gets very hot. It gets up to 40 or 50 degrees Celsius in certain times of the year. But no, it's a badge of pride.
Okay, so Santa's workshop. So we sent a couple of cameras out.
Yeah, and I understand that there were quite a few tech support calls that have come in from parents just trying to get their tank to run or fit under the Christmas tree. So why don't we roll that video now, see what shenanigans they got into.
I'm the Elf Sergeant Major at Santa's Tank Workshop. I'm in charge of production and tech support. We're having quite the candy cane of a year this year, but we have the right elves to the job. What are you guys doing? Wake up, it's Christmas time!
All the tools required for assembly you'll find in the toolkit in the side bin of the hull. Where did you drop the 10mm socket? In the engine compartment? Well, you'll never get that back. Please hold as I transfer you to the quartermaster for replacement.
No. What are you taking this apart for right now? That goes there, this goes here. It has to be back together and on the sleigh within an hour. Yeah.
So, you've put it together and you still have 3 gears in the box. And they weren't in the instructions? Why don't you try starting it and see if they were essential?
Why is there 2 left side engine armor plates? Oh, as you were.
Ma'am, when you placed the order, there were several sizes in the description, including the presentation size. Of course, the extra large is not going to fit under the Christmas tree.
What are you guys doing here? The transmission goes in with the engine attached. Step number 76. Read the manual.
Sir, so you're saying that the track is coming loose? That it's almost falling off? Please hold one moment and I'll transfer you to our track tension specialist.
What is the nature of the track tension emergency? What, you've loosened the locking nut? You are sure that there is grease in the grease gun? No, sir, I'm not trying to insult your intelligence. Yep, that would do it. Okay. No, between the second and third return rotors. About an inch. Goodbye.
Yes, sir. Assembly is required. We've provided all of the tools that you need to put your tank together. Yes, and the engine needs to go into the engine bay of the tank. That's what the lifting gear is for, to attach to the engine. Of course we didn't include the crane, that's sold separately.
Sir, the road wheels won't fit. Obviously you need a bigger box than that for the road wheel knobby. And what are you two doing? We can't send live ammunition to kids. 712 tickets cleared today. We can do more, but holy tinsel, we have an emergency.
And we're back. Wow, your elves they are something.
They're quite productive volunteers, as I've told you.
And I mean, you're starting with, you really ripped down some of the vehicles around here, or the elves have ripped down some of the vehicles around here for restoration work.
Yeah, so there's 3 large active restorations going, but then just ongoing maintenance. Like that Leopard 1 pack is out for maintenance. It has to be done for us every couple of years.
Oh, I think we're about running out of time. The lads in Europe are giving us a budget of time, and we may have slightly overrun it, but
Outstayed our welcome. Us? Who knew?
the colonials are taking over again.
But, you know, on the note of the restoration, I mean, there are reasons that you're constantly maintaining, and you do have your annual event. So I was hoping that maybe you could take a little time to tell the folks at home a little bit about Aquino and some of the upcoming events that you have here at the museum later in 2024.
So, you know, we've quickly talked about the Tanks in the Snow event. So in February, we have Winter Warfare. All of the 2024 season, you can now get tickets, details, cool videos, some videos with these guys, tankmuseum.ca. But Aquino Tank Weekend is going to be in July this year, so about a month after Tank Fest. So there should be, you know, a couple really busy tanky months this summer. So, you know, get tickets, get details, Tank Museum. What's important is .ca.
Okay, I don't know if I'll make Winter Warfare. I mean, I kind of like driving with my roof down in my convertible in February in Texas. It's like,
Yeah, I've got enough taste of winter. This was a great trip, but I'll be back in July.
Our guys have fun, but depending on the weather, it's not always enjoyable for the tankers, okay?
Well, before we throw it back to the fellas in Bobington, I did want to give a very big thank you to you, Jeremy, and your awesome volunteers, all the students, everyone that helped make decorating this M577 and the rest of the hangar possible. They were awesome in the videos, and it's just like family when we come up. So I'm always so glad when Nick and I have the opportunity to come up to the Ontario Regiment Museum. So thank you for having us out, and thank you to everyone that's out there watching right now for joining us for the stream, and of course for the volunteers that are actually literally out there watching us right now. Nick, did you have any? Oh, hold on. You think I didn't notice, okay? You think I didn't notice that your second accessory has been removed. I am officially bestowing upon you a bag of coal. Okay, and there's coal in here, okay?
gonna burn it for heat?
No, they're actually just rocks from outside, but let's pretend they're coal. And this is for you, the King of Bah Humbug. Enjoy that bag of coal, and I hope you can get it through security on the way home.
Which stocking here belongs to Chieftain?
Oh, you think he has a stocking?
No, you can put it on the hat.
Alrighty, Chieftain. Any final words before we throw it back over, Scrooge?
No, I don't. Hopefully you guys all out there have learned a little bit more about what goes on up here in North America and the excellent museum that we have. Of course, we have other museums in North America, but Ontario Regiment RCAC, no, I get that one right this time. It's a very unique, especially with all the vehicles that run, so I love coming up here. Anytime you get to get inside or run around vehicles, whatever, it's
I mean, we have string lights in here. They let us, oh, well, you got sick. Okay.
It was a little...
not everyone can do this, but thank you.
all right.
Okay.
Lads, hope you enjoyed it, and we shall now kick it back to Bovington, the Tank Museum. They don't like when we call it Bovington.
The Tank Museum, Bobby.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.